So you're making money in coaching and whatever business you're doing. So where do you put your money? Well, I'm gonna go over these three options, and after we go over these three, you're gonna say they don't sound that appealing, but they're actually the most common ones. And then at the end, I'll show you the one that I do and the reason why I don't need my benefits from nursing. By the way, if you don't know, I started nursing as a full-time nurse in 2018 and I stopped in 2023. So that's give or take 5 years. And that right there is my nursing license. I'll keep it up there just to kind of make me feel like I know something. Okay, so you have money, and I'll show you what most people do and what I didn't do and why I don't have to work full time anymore. So you have excess money because you're a nurse or you have a side job or you're doing both like I did. And where do you put it? I'm gonna tell you where I didn't put it, but I'm gonna do it in a way by explaining each opportunity, right? So most people, what they do, they put in their 401k. And the reason they do this is because they're gonna retire one day and because they think they're gonna save on taxes. But in reality, you're just delaying the tax and there's a penalty for touching your money. And I don't know about you, but I worked hard for my money and nobody's gonna tell me I can't touch it for 40 years, right? So on top of that, after you retire, when you have no more income, you're gonna get taxed the full 40%. So the only benefit to that is that you just don't get taxed today, but there's no benefit after that. You get penalized if you want it before you're 65, and you're gonna get charged the full 40% tax after. You can buy Tesla or whatever stock right now, and after 12 months, you won't get taxed at a full 40%. It's the difference between long-term versus short-term. Anyways, that's why I didn't invest in that. Next, you could also invest. Well, if you can't invest in your 401k, let's at least buy a house, right? Let's buy a house. Well, the thing about a house is that whenever you see the price of a house here in the Bay Area, it used to be an average $1 million price tag for a house. It's a little higher now, but when I did the math, an average price for whatever you're seeing for a house is actually 2 to 3 times more the price. The reason is because most people get a mortgage on a house. So if you buy it for $1 million, you're actually going to end up, and if you do the math yourself, you'll see, you'll actually end up paying $2 to $3 million after 30 years. And the worst part is that after that, you can pay off that house and you still have to pay property tax and insurance. So to me, that never made sense. And if you look at adjusted for inflation, houses have actually done really bad, typically 3 to 4% after you account for inflation after all this time. So that didn't sound like a good idea, especially when I could just rent at the same house and not be in debt my entire life. So I didn't do that either. So that's a no. Okay, well, I mean, can't do didn't do 401k, didn't do a house. Well, I'll just save my money at the bank. And that makes sense, right? You just save your money, at least it's safe. Well, no, it's not, because the thing is, the bank doesn't keep your money there. They actually lend it out, and it's legal for them to lend it out 9 times or 10 times to different people. So what they do is when you put, let's say, $100,000 in there, they lend that out 9 different times, that same $100,000, to somebody that wants to buy a car, somebody that wants to buy, has to pay for their credit card, or somebody that wants to buy another house. So it's being used. And meanwhile, they're making money on that, and you're getting nothing. I think it's 0.01 right now. It's probably not even that. So they also just came out with, since 1950, I believe the dollar has gone down 93%. I double checked that, but 93%. So if I had $100,000 in 1950, it'd only be worth about $7 or the equivalent. So yeah, that's not exactly thriving if you ask me. So back to square one. I have money. Where do I put it? If I didn't put in my 401k, I didn't put it in my house, and I didn't put it in the bank, what did I do? Well, let me show you. So what I needed to do was find something that was gonna take care of my retirement, because I wasn't gonna be working the rest of my life, and I needed something that was gonna cover my benefits. So this is actually what I did, and it goes back to that structure I showed you in the previous video, where I'm right here, handsome as ever, and I had a nursing job. That's where I got my W-2. And I had a business. That business was a coaching business. So what I did with my excess money is, as soon as I could, I would buy an apartment, a duplex in this case. And then as soon as I could again, I bought a fourplex. And as soon as I did again, I bought another fourplex. So 10 units total. And I couldn't buy anymore because the bank at some point realizes, hey, you're not living in these things, so they start letting you borrow so much. But anyways, the reason I bought real estate first was because I was going to put a 30-year mortgage on it. Somebody else was going to pay the mortgage, not me. And in 30 years, when old Eddie wasn't going to work anymore or just needed something to cover his retirement, that would pay my retirement instead of a 401k, right? That's cash flow, that's rent. Rents go up every year, so it's going to be even more than what I paid for at the time. So that covers my 401k gap, right? But if I'm not going to be working anymore, how am I going to get my medical insurance? Well, that's where the business comes. So the business, you have expenses in a business. Let's just put expenses. One of those was my medical insurance. Medical insurance, that's what that is. So you could pay for medical insurance for your employee, yourself, in the business. And yes, you are paying for it out of your pocket. But for me, it was around $500 at the time. It was like Kaiser Silver plan, $500 a month. But that's a write-off against your income. So it's helping you give you an expense. It covers your insurance. And more importantly, you are allowed to keep your time, because if you don't have to work a full time because you cover your 401k and you cover your medical insurance, then you don't have to work at full time at any job to get benefits. So that was way more valuable than having to give someone 40 hours, a day, or 40 hours a week, and having to schedule out a vacation, 1 year out. And I worked at Stanford Hospital, where it was a big hospital. So it was this big matrix of like trying to figure out when I could take a vacation and when I could allow myself 2 weeks in a year to take time off. And that just wasn't going to work for me. So that's what I did. I hope that helps kind of clear up if you are trying to do something similar in your position. And if not, well, you wasted 7 minutes listening to me.